What he's done. My mama wouldn't have to worry and be so strong.
All day, the news now, baby, so be on your way. Last call for whiskey, drink up.
There's one thing I'd love to know from everyone. Would you be caught dead in this outfit? This is the star. I'm the proud possessor of a real color copy of the star that brought down the most charismatic candidate come down the pipe since... Yeah. Welcome, everyone. I'm Christina, and I'll be your MC, Mistress of Ceremonies tonight.
Yay!
For this benefit for GCN.
Yay!
And we have a very wicked evening prepared for you. First, we'll be seeing films, videos by Dana Moser. And Dana is going to come up here and say a few words about the video extravaganza we're about to see. Dana? Darling?
It's not exactly a extravaganza, it's only about 20 minutes of videotapes. So I'm going to show 3 tapes. The first one I made during the Robert Mapplethorpe exhibition, and there were people coming from out of state to try and close the ICA during that. So it seems maybe a little dated now, or maybe not. And the next one is a soap opera that's sort of in progress. And then the last one is kind of self-explanatory. It's called Body Parts. So those are the 3 things. Let's get the lights back there on that wall.
Brilliant.
The following videotape contains explicit material which may be offensive to some viewers. Mental storage of imagery from this videotape for private applications, including masturbation, is not expressly forbidden by law. However, in some states, such applications may be subject to a 15% memory production copyright surcharge. This is a public service announcement concerning a topic which recently has been very much abused. I'm speaking, of course, about the human body. Let me illustrate my point with a few examples to test your comprehension. This is a weenie. This is a peenie. Based on what you have just seen, which of the following is true? A. One is just a piece of meat. B. How dare you compare a beautiful living human organ with a product of the meatpacking industry? C. You can show a weenie on TV, but you can't show a peenie on TV. If you answered C, you were correct. You can't show a peenie on TV. Why is this so? Television is meant to be a clean, wholesome, family environment, where the collective values of our society are upheld. Things that are nasty and dirty are not shown. This includes parts of the body that we all know are nasty and dirty. If we all cooperate by keeping hidden those things that we know are nasty and dirty, this world and our society will be a much nicer, more wholesome place to live in. Thank you.
Come on, pull up that chair over there and sit down, right here. I want to show you this new piece of software that I wrote.
I don't know, is any of this gonna blow up or something?
I'm going to get somebody to help me market this.
What does it do?
Well, here, watch. Look, I press this button here. Okay. And you can see that as I begin to write, this here translates into the memory of the computer. You see, and that's my hand there, actually writing the letter. My hand is become part of the machine itself.
That's incredible.
It's really fantastic.
Why don't you just use a pen and write on a piece of paper?
Well, for example, think of if I could, let's say I have a letter and I want to send it to 100 people, but people don't like receiving form letters. They like something that's sent to them that's very, very personalized. So what I can do here is it will look like a very personal letter if it's in my script. Short notes, thank you notes, especially things like that.
So it's sincere.
It's very, very individual, and individual is a big word now. I think it'll go over very, very well.
Wow.
Dana, I thought Tony was coming by this morning.
He stood me up again. You know, Lori, people tell me that I'm just being paranoid. Just because I have a lot of money, I'm always assuming that men are just going to use me. But I think he's seeing someone else.
Who knows, Dana? I mean, maybe something happened this morning. Maybe he got delayed at work. Maybe his alarm clock didn't go off. I don't know, Dana. But hey, it's 12. The drug catalog's on.
Oh, you want to watch the drug catalog? I love that show.
Yeah, me too, Dana. Come on, let's go and have some drinks. Come on.
Oh, great. But what I want to know, what I would really love to know, is just where he is right this minute.
Your cheating heart will make you weep. You'll cry and try to sleep.
Oh God, that was really great. Thanks. What time is it? I really love you. Yeah. Gosh, what time is it? Get out of here. I gotta go. Oh God, Tracy, I don't know why you want me to stay here anyway. You're just gonna watch that stupid drug catalog show anyway. We're not going to do anything.
So maybe you could watch this stupid drug catalog show with me.
What the hell for?
I don't know, a little quality time, maybe?
Oh, Christ, with the quality time. For God's sakes, I'm getting out of here. I gotta go.
Fired by police along with tear gas at the University of Cape Town in Johannesburg, South Africa. That's believed to be the first use of guns to break up rioting at a predominantly white school. Police also used whips on protesters who reportedly threw stones at police vehicles.
Hello again. Today on the drug catalog, we'll be talking about a very interesting drug, marijuana. One of the most amazing things about marijuana is that you can grow it just about anywhere. The two most common varieties are cannabis indica and cannabis sativa. But we all know it is pot, reefer, ganja. In my dad's day, it was Mary Jane. Now here it is. This is pot, marijuana. As you can see, it's the flowering top of the plant. In fact, it's the bud. The bud is the part of the plant that's used. This is the stem. This is the area, obviously, where it's been cut. And this is a particularly beautiful specimen, which is originally from Afghanistan, but has been grown in our own state of Rhode Island. And these plants are actually quite lovely. If you've never seen one, you can imagine them. They're very green. They grow up to 7 feet tall. You can almost imagine them swaying in the wind. You know, they're lovely. And the thing about marijuana is, of course, people use it to smoke. And they use this area, the bud, because it has the highest concentration of THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol, which is the active drug, of course. Of course, the plant is used mostly for smoking, as we all know, but we can't lose sight of the fact that it can be used for other purposes, such as, for example, its aromatic qualities. My grandmother used to use the leaves for freshening up her linen, and my friend Jeannie uses it in her potpourris. But, of course, what we know it for is its smoking quality. Now, the various parts of the plants are, of course, the stem, the leaves, and the seeds. In order to prepare the marijuana for smoking, you want to separate these various elements. Now, of course, you could use them all, but the stems have the lowest concentration of THC, and they tend to be a bit problematic because they often here are, of course, cigarette papers, rolling papers as they're known. They tend to puncture the paper. And the seeds, instead, of course, puncturing the paper is not a problem if you use the so-called pipe, using this alabaster. There's no problem with puncturing alabaster. However, the seeds have problems of their own in both the pipe and the rolling papers, and that they tend to explode. Okay? It pops just like popcorn, and that can be quite unpleasant if it pops onto you or your friends or your partner. And I'm going to separate the bud. We can't lose sight of the fact that it can be used for other purposes, such as, for example, its aromatic aromatic qualities. My grandmother used to use the leaves for freshening up her linen.
Lori, I love
And my friend Jean uses it in her potpourri.
Sometimes I just don't think someone will ever love me. I think that's what I'm worried about. Do you know what I mean, Lori?
Now, the various parts...
Lori? Lori?
This is my penis. I've had it ever since I was very small. Even though I was always quite fond of it, I was kind of worried that the lovers I'd had would be less fond of it. Either because it wasn't impressive enough, or it was kind of dirty and looked like an internal organ that had been turned out for some reason.
Okay, this is a nipple. This is my nipple. As I've grown older, it's changed. When I was little, it was a nice petite little girl's nipple. Then I started growing breasts. It was still kind of a nice petite little girl's nipple on pubescent breasts. But as I've gotten older, it started growing all this hair. So I have all this hair around the edge, which some people think, I've heard, some people think is really gross. No one's ever said that to me, but I hear it. People think it's really gross. Actually, no one who's seen mine has said, that's gross. But I've heard people say to my face, I think female nipple hair is gross. But that's what I have. I have a mole right there. Here, let me show you the other one. It's over here.
Because of the kind of like reaction that I would sometimes get that sort of resembled, sort of sounded something like, maybe ew would be a word I encountered sometimes when I was really growing up. So I assumed that what my penis did was actually kind of bad or repulsive.
So it's got these, around the edges, it's got these little sort of sebaceous lumps that are perfectly normal, says my doctor. But one wonders how attractive they actually are. And we've got the hair, and on the end, there's this tissue that's sort of lumpy and pointy. I mean, not pointy, it's just sort of lumpy. It's a funny kind of, I don't know, it's a funny kind of tissue. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of weird.
It was big and kind of had this sort of, if you get a side view, it had a kind of shield around it, like the shield of a small dinosaur I had. Kind of scoop up and then go down behind here and sort of, I always thought that was kind of neat, and the fact that it was attached to my body and resembled some of my toys, I thought, I liked that. It made touching it all that much more enjoyable as a boy. And then underneath you have these extra folds here that actually look kind of neat on the videotape, but I always thought were really ugly.
They're not attractive. Some women have these real smooth, hairless aureoles. They don't have all these sebaceous things on them, if you look at close. See, they don't have any of those things. And then they're real smooth and pointy here. They're kind of harder than mine. They're real soft. And they're just bigger.
A lot of people have anxiety about the size of their cocks. I never really did, except for when I was with other men, and other boys actually, in a locker room situation in gym class. Like I would always pull my underpants off really fast and put on my gym shorts and that kind of thing. And it was always like, you know, I always felt shyest around other boys.
They were small, which kids aren't supposed to be small, they're supposed to be big.
Size was always the issue then, because in a cold gym locker room, my penis would get what would seem like incredibly small and you know, nothing substantial enough like I'd seen in magazines at that time. So I naturally thought that that my dick was too small. Really, it was just the temperature of the locker room and something like
So basically, everything that could be wrong with it was wrong with it. And also, they're small. You know? There's not much there. I don't shave my pig hair either. You see?
Before, my mother had taught me that it was bad to touch my penis. When she was giving me a bath, I used to touch it all the time. And I used to play a game involving a robber in my imagination, a thief, a burglar who came and took all the valuables and put it in his sack. So that would involve doing this. I don't know if I can do it now. Taking the valuable part of my penis and kind of like sticking it inside the other part.
And sort of, you know, you can twist them and turn them, you can bounce them and turn them.
I can't really do it now, but when I was a boy, I'd sort of stick the head of my penis down into the extra skin around my penis. For some reason I can't do it like I used to now. I guess it's all changed now. But my mother told me it was gross, and I haven't done it much since.
In all its lumpitude and hairiness. Okay. The end.
Urge all of you to subscribe. If you're not, Laura Pierce, our development director, is going to talk about that. And there's some free copies that you can peruse. And there's actually an interesting article in there about the David Ferry, Clay Shaw controversy or whatever, for those of you who saw the movie JFK. Mitzel wrote an article about it for Fag Rag about 15 years ago, before Oliver Stone probably even heard of these folks. And we have a piece in GCN about that. If you support the paper, part 2 will come out next week, and you can read that. And if you think that GCN is worth more than the price of a movie, which I guess you paid to get up here, then consider emptying your pockets into the can that we're going to pass. So thanks a lot, and here's Laura Pierce.
Hi everybody, thanks for coming out. I want to thank you especially on behalf of the GCN staff, because it means a lot to have all of you here. We're going to pass a can around. If anybody of you can afford to put a few extra dollars in, that would be great. I'm going to start it right over here. We have someone who's waiting to put $10 in, and that will help us a great deal. So.
I hope everybody will imitate this action.
I also just want to encourage everyone to subscribe, and I'm just curious, how many people here read GCN, at least fairly regularly? Okay. And how many people get it in their mailboxes at home every week? Okay, that's actually a pretty good number. We're a subscriber-based paper, unlike Bay Windows and In, the other papers around the city, and we really depend on people to subscribe. And If you subscribe, you get it in your mailbox every week. You're the first to get the news. So it's sort of an exciting thing. We have subscription blanks on the tables. And I just want to invite all of you to subscribe tonight before you leave. You can use your credit card. Really easy. You may not even pay for it for years. And just put your credit card down and put it in the can. And we'll make sure that you get a subscription right away. Cross out the $39 subscription price for a year and put in $33 because you already paid $6 to get in tonight. So we hope a few of you will subscribe now while you get the chance. Enjoy the show. Christina Favaretta is up next. Thanks for coming.
Hello, and I'd like to thank Jody Steiner, who will be translating for many of us. She's doing a great job. And not to be nitpicky, but my name is Christina Favaretta, and if I were to pronounce it correctly, it would be Christina Favaretta. But not only that, but it's been mispronounced and misspelled in every single venue. And I thought, this was my chance for fame. Well, I just need some props now, excuse me. Could Jody's light be turned down? Not only did they misspell my name, but not only did they misspell my name, but they said I was going to read poetry. And I'm not a poet. But that's okay, because I like to explore different venues, so I wrote some poems yesterday. It's true. You're laughing, but it's true. And actually, it was going to be a big production with go-go dancers and costumes and people from England, strange haircuts. I canned it all. And, but I need assistance. This is Blurt. He's neurotic, but he likes to be with me all the time. So bear with me. My hands will shake because it is my first time reading poetry ever. Okay, this poem is called Jesus Doesn't Love Me. Jesus doesn't love me, boo hoo hoo. If Jesus didn't love you, you'd feel awful too. He doesn't even like me, I know it plain and clear. I know it 'cause the man himself whispered in my ear, you're dirty and you're rotten, and furthermore you lie. You're silly and forget, cheap, deceitful, sly. You think you're such a smarty ass, but I just think you're rude and crass. I hate you, hate you, hate you, so I'll conk you in the head. He raised his arm to smite, so I said, Jesus, that's not right. You're supposed to be the guy who loves truth, beauty, peace, and light. He said, get with the ticket. If I want to, I can stick it to you and to your pansy friends who think you know it all. You call me homosexual, you think you're being textual. I hate you, hate you, hate you, and my father hates you too. I said, Jesus, wait a minute, calm down. Breathe a few times. I'm okay, you're okay, know what I'm saying? But then Jesus gets real mad. He hates self-help books. And he starts spinning around real fast. And then I noticed he wasn't Jesus at all, but the Pope. And I said, oh geez, you've ruined the rhythm of my song. Go take a crap in hell, you creep. And the Pope kept spinning and spinning, and then he starts whistling real loud like a tea kettle. It was confusing. I mean, I just stood there and I thought, I think this guy is really stressed out. So I shot him and put him out of his pain. Now, before I wrote a lot of these last night, I ate some dill seeds, and dill seeds have the property of making you think with both sides of your brain. So these things are really disjointed and they don't make sense. Half of it's written with the left side, half with the right. So maybe, you'll understand. And sometimes I need audience participation, and I'm sure you'll all comply. This is called Advertising Can Change Your Life, and it's a spoken word piece. You've heard all the enlightened critiques of 1991, how it was a bad year for women, civil rights, the poor, the homeless, the elderly, the health careless, the yuppies, the homeowners, the whales, the pit bulls, and Boston bands. You've clucked your tongues about the problems and despaired about the solutions. Liberals and Republicans unite in moaning, there's no there. There's no one that can help. No one cares. I'm going to drive my car real neurotic-like and eat a lot of chocolate. What am I going to do? I felt that way until one day, reading Allure, I had a revelation, or rather, an epiphany. I saw the light, and Nike was shining it on me. I gazed, oh, how postmodern of me, at the shining, determined face of a young woman in running attire, bathed in an erotic film of sweat. Ponytail jauntily flying behind her, this woman seemed happy. Unlike the other models in the magazine, she didn't pout, simper, puff out her lips, smirk, suck in her cheeks, wield a whip, totter in high heels, look angry, look seductive, look constipated. She looked like she was moving and grooving, going through doors, shining her own light, damn it. I knew it wasn't the endorphins. I knew it wasn't the shoes. I knew it wasn't the funky Dayglow orange top or the thought of Brad or her cat or Sarah at home waiting for her. No. It was the motto that was spurring her on. The motto, you know what I mean, the motto, just do it. God, I thought, why hasn't that occurred to me before? So I called up all my friends and I told them about my revelation, and they were psyched, and called up all their friends, and they were psyched, and so on and so forth. And then we all got together, and there were lots of us, all shining and determined. And we started bitching and complaining and kvetching so loudly and so effectively that the sound reached the White House and the Pentagon and Fort Knox, and the men therein knew that their hour had come. Because not only were we all pissed, but we were looking good, man. You know? Real athletic and strong and bitchy goddess-like, even the boys. And we all started chanting, hey, you guys, either y'all cut it out or we are really gonna do it. And lo, they heard from our voices that we were determined, and quaked and gasped, and our collective force of determination was so strong that even the ozone layer closed up nice and tight, like a virgin anus faced with its first dildo. And all the good people on Earth rallied against the bad people on Earth, and it was good. And all the hipsters in black decided to try peace and wore yellow and white and went to retreats upstate. And all the Zen monks became headbangers, and all the pigeons agreed to stop shitting on people. And let me tell you, I felt pretty good about myself. Just do it, babe. Some things I won't do. I'll never ever have a band and name it with some Beat Generation allusion, some Kerouacian witticism, some Allen Ginsberg holier than holier aphorism, because boys will be boys and beat boys were bad, and sometimes beat boys can be boring. Also, if you ever hear me saying, this time the feminists have gone too far, you can slap me, all of you. One at a time. Oh, and I'll never sport a Malcolm X cap. Not because he wasn't okay, but because I'm past the age where I need to shock the bourgeoisie with facile visual nudges as to how cool I am. This is a story called The Bird King. Pi was a small green lovebird who liked to eat seeds and dream about weighing 300 pounds instead of a measly 1.5 ounces. He was a fairly good bird who loved his owners most of the time, but sometimes longed to crush their heads in his beak. But that was just sometimes. His owners, like all humans, were quite smug about their so-called human superiority and spoke to Pi in baby talk and tried to teach him stupid inane tricks, like bowing when they clapped or flapping his wings when they called his name. One day Pi, who was fairly adept at peeping, but by no stretch of the imagination a songbird, surprised his owners by stating that all the presidential candidates sucked and that he was sick of listening to their tired bullshit. You see, when the owners went to work, they left the radio on tuned to NPR so that Pi would not feel lonely. Pi had obviously been listening to the presidential debates and had become very opinionated, and finally vocal about his disillusionment. Their platforms on bird rights are practically non-existent. Beep! And all they're stultifyingly predictable, and they blow dry their hair. They have no new innovative ideas, and even Jerry Brown was spotted eating at KFC. None of them has said a word about bird suffrage and the need for improved sunflower seeds, except for Lenora Fulani, but she's in that weird cult and I can't in good conscience support her. The owners, astounded, gulped. Finally, one of them asked, well, what do you expect? It's always been this way. Radical change will never occur in this country. And they looked at each other and realized they were talking to a bird. When they came to, they found Pi perched on the table, looking at them with thinly veiled contempt. As I was saying, the situation in this country is not for the birds, and I intend to do something about it. I'm no idle complainer. What do you plan to do, said the female owner. I mean, we really are just a pair of bitter, disillusioned liberals, and the only effective means of combating the state we have is to groan loudly while we read the daily paper. Pi stated firmly and clearly, I intend to run for office. But there has never been an avian president, said the guy owner. You don't realize what you'd be getting yourself into. Star magazine would have the dirt on you in no time. They'd probably find some cute little cockatiel country singer, maybe some steroid scandal. Pi interrupted. I'm clean. I'm only 3 months old. My parents were working class peach faces, and the only other place I've been besides the pet store is this apartment. Exactly, said the lady owner. What do you know about the world, about unemployment, the homeless, healthcare, the economy? Pi answered, I think a lot. I listen to the radio, and I have instinctual knowledge that humans don't possess. That's not enough, said the guy. You don't have a chance in hell to become president of the United States. Who said anything about being president? Countered Pi. I intend to reinstitute the monarchy. I shall become king. This was said with so regal a stance and so imperious a tilt of the head that the owners became instant converts to Pi's grand scheme. It was hard work. Campaigning out of a small rent-controlled apartment with only one telephone was demoralizing and unbelievably tedious. The owners cleaned out their savings to purchase a hot air balloon so that Pi could preach his dream to his own constituency. They were amazed at how many bird languages he knew. He spoke robin, wren, crow, whippoorwill with equal ease, and his eloquence placed him in the League of St. Francis. Beep, 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 he peeped, and tears came to the eyes of even the most cynical of avians. Seed for all, he proclaimed proudly, and the humans heard and understood. Within 5 months, the presidency had been abolished, and Pi became the first bird king of the United States. He was an honest, indefatigable ruler, a firm opponent to pigeon snares and shotguns. The cats were not pleased at the cat curfew laws, and after an attempt at a coup, they negotiated for the right to leave their homes once every 10 years. The national anthem was changed to the tune of the Happy Little Cuckoo, and the human race, after following a diet of seed, fruits, and grubs, found that they were happier, healthier, and wiser. And also, I've been watching the Olympics a lot, sort of. I only watch the luge, actually, because it's a very ridiculous sport, and I can't help thinking that these people look like really shiny colored turds on a sled, zipping down. Why would anyone want to be in the luge? If it was for me, I would institute a Special Olympics competition, the poofter, where you'd be on kind of a, I'm from upstate New York, and we call them poofs. I don't know what they call them here. They're little things you put in front of a lazy boy or a chair to put your feet on. And we would just slide down these big taffeta downhills, and the judges would be Persian cats. And instead of getting gold medals and things like that, we'd get truffles, chocolate truffles. This poem is called My Truck. I drive a 16-wheeler. My load, Chanel perfume. I whiz through the countryside listening to opera, La Bohème, Carmen, Aida, and my favorite, Madame Butterfly. Sometimes I pretend I'm Diamanda Gallis, reciting passages from Women Who Love Too Much, or Julia Child's Cooking for Friends. The squid should be nestled in the puree of brains. Oh, it's lovely, so lovely. Did I tell you I don't have a driver's license? But that's okay. I have a picture of Emma Goldman on my dashboard, and she protects me. There's another very brief story. I don't know if you're in the mood for it. It's not about birds. It's called The 3-Centimeter High Baby, A Cautionary Tale. Once upon a time, there was a perfect couple. Their names were Brad and Susan, and they lived in Wellesley in a small Cape Cod-style starter home. They were both corporate lawyers, although Susan had dabbled in commodities trading for a stint before her law degree. They worked for competing firms and believed that getting to yes counted, and that working a room was the best form of spiritual exercise. He was blonde and tennis athletic with sharp, stress-laced William Hurt features. He spoke with a slight nasal whine and harbored a secret desire to be masterfully dominated by a young boy wearing a George Bush mask. Susan was small and trim, an aerobics addict with sharply blunt-cut hair, really sharp like a razor, and a passion for pinstripes. She was desperately unhappy with her sex life and nursed a profound, painful crush on Sigourney Weaver. Well, by all standards, Brad and Susan had everything a couple of young Republicans could possibly desire: a lifetime membership to the Le Plis Spa, American Express Platinum cards, a 2-car garage for the Volvos, and a complete deluxe tape collection of all the McLaughlin reports. And last, but not least, a small greenhouse where they could grow their own Vidalia onions and sun-dried tomatoes. They were boldly going, sure to be mentioned in Fortune someday, sure to grab success by the scruff of the neck and give it a few good shakes. There was, however, a tiny cloud on their horizon, an imperfection in the Waterford vase of their lives, so to speak. A worm in the caviar. Brad and Susan did not yet have an offspring, a tiny tribute to the American way of life, a creature to send to Montessori schools and lacrosse lessons, a little dollop of their combined DNA to render neurotic and insecure with their expectations of Ivy League grandeur. It rankled deeply to watch their colleagues complain with calculated tolerance of their little Ashleys and Taylors about how good British nannies were getting harder and harder to find. And wasn't it wonderful that Laura Ashley had introduced a toddler's line? Brad and Susan tried. They tried everything. They lavished money on infertility clinics and sperm transfers and uterine yoga and walking on coals and the power of positive thinking. And they even attended a corporate seminar on the managerial parent, hoping that the go-get-em atmosphere would prove stimulating, but it was useless. Their human larva just didn't materialize. Finally, despairing, they took a hint from their maid, Rosa Vasquez, and visited a small, dusty storefront in Jamaica Plain, where candles were burnt during the day and the air reeked of strange herbal smells. After handing over $20 and a $5 tip, they left hurriedly, half ashamed, uncomfortable in that Volvo-less neighborhood. 9 months later, it's not all of JP, though, just a small part of JP is Volvo-less. 9 months later, at a Page birthing clinic on the Cape, Brad and Susan gave birth to a 3-centimeter high baby with razor-sharp fangs. So happy were they that they had finally spawned successfully that they chose to ignore their darling offspring's small idiosyncrasies. They held a huge christening and named the child Choate Hall Nutter McLennan and Fish. Baby Chody for short. It was a quiet baby that never ate. Susan was somewhat relieved that the baby showed no interest in breastfeeding. One night, after having watched 30-something, Brad and Susan tiptoed up to the nursery to view their darling. As they were bending lovingly over the toy-bedecked crib and cooing in that silly, ingratiating way babies despise, the child opened its intriguing blue eyes and screamed a very peculiar scream that went like this. And shot like a blow dart out of the crib and sunk its razor-sharp fangs into Brad's neck, killing him instantaneously. Susan, horrified, backed out of the room, tripping over leather furniture and Brad's life-size Cub Scout sculptures, weeping and begging for mercy. Now, I have a problem here because I don't like movies where women are the villains and get chased around and killed, so I'm just going to kind of leave Susan up near the upholstery, chastened. The baby hurtled out onto the streets of Wellesley, disseminating chagrin among the inhabitants of Lawn Street. It knew with unerring certainty where it had to go. Finding a build nurse was no problem. The baby shot through the door, pausing only briefly to kill a small poodle. Soon, the Sturgeon aisle was awash with the blood of investment bankers, New Age therapists, and systems analysts. Replenished but unsatiated, the baby flew with renewed vigor to Newbury Street, where fake punks and snotty hairdressers soon met a bloody fate. Every guy that's ever said to me, "Who did your hair?" Every woman that said that, they got it. The street was strewn with expensive leather and large, chunky geometric earrings, creating a rather interesting aerial view, but the baby never paused in its flight. Go, little baby, go. We cheer you on in your unending lust for the blood of American bloodsuckers. Wherever you see urban developers, the so-called urban pioneers, wherever you see a bush quail bumper sticker, wherever the air is perfumed with Georgia of Beverly Hills, strike hard, strike swiftly, with the sureness of the possessed. I think that's it. I had to go to sleep. There's one more. It's very old. I wrote it when I was 3. It's called Secret Supermarket. There is a secret supermarket in my brain. Its aisles and aisles of food are driving me insane. There's jello molds and tales untold of frozen carrot cakes. The eyes that spy among the creams are begging me to take the breads that suffer lonely nights and limited shelf lives. The sadness of the cottage cheese comes as no surprise. Gleaming, screaming tins of soup, all fighting to be free. Rows and rows of chicken corpses softly blaming me of crimes of lust and greed and sloth and barking at the moon. But I just shop and never stop, but hope to leave real soon. And that's it. And again, thank you, Jody. We're going to have a little break now because adult children have to get ready, and I think you should all just socialize and have a good time and drink and sing and play games, whatever. Thank you.
Can we get this mic going? Is there an alternate of some kind?
Shake the end of the cord.
Is that meditation? What was the, what did you suggest?
Shake the cord. Shake the cord. Shake it. Shake it. Go ahead. Shake it. Put the on button on. There you go.
Well, where's your on button, honey? Well, I think we'll just proceed here, and the backups will share a mic over there. But the following song is from a musical called Pure Polyester, a Biblical Burlesque. Woo! It's an annual event. It's based on the biblical book of Esther. And it's going to be showing again this year at the Boston Center for the Arts Theater, March 5th through 22nd. This is your little preview. You're the only 250 people in a 120-room that get to see it. And this song... Okay, we got 3 mics again. Anyway, this song is sung by Vashti, who's the Queen of Persia, when she's getting kicked out of the country by the king, because she's bad. And it's called I'm an Evil Gal. Evil.
chocolate mousse. Okay, but for dessert, I put before if you control, pick up my. You can make me cower, you can make me cry. Sit on your face and I'll give you the evil eye. Don't you fuck with me, or I will teach you the meaning of the word misery. No kid can make me cry. Sit on your face and I'll give you. Don't you fuck with me, or I will teach you the meaning of the word misery. Alright. They call me evil again, 'cause I do as I please. Evil girl. If you try to control me, pick up my fat ass. Oh, honey, it's so bad, because I'm from New York. And
Police shades, ladies and gentlemen. Now, how many mics have we got? This one was working. Did it work through the whole song? Okay, how about yours, Lynn?
Yeah, we got one here.
Well, let's work with these two for now. Nice hat. I cut my hair, so I have to wear a hat. You know,
We're taking the mic off of tom-toms to use this vocal mic.
got that? No tom-toms, so we're gonna have that one in vocal. You know, I just want to tell you that I was not born yesterday as the fully developed rock and roll, fully developed rock and roll.
Hey, the one over there, the one behind you. Violin one.
Oh, the violin one we can work with too. Does this extend any? No. Then this isn't a good one. I'm going to use the violin.
This is exactly how we planned this show. I want you to know that. We want you to know that we're really good under pressure.
Wait, this is a good one. No, sometimes is that good? Good one.
Okay. Where was I? I was not born. Okay, everybody. I was not born yesterday as the fully developed rock and roll messiah. Rock and roll messiah. You see before you now. You see before you now. Well, that's one way to get volume around here. Okay. No. My life, in fact, this has come from a life full of true life experiences. True life experiences like this one that happened when I was 17 years old. And my mother called me up on the phone and said, Abe, did you hear about San Francisco? Out in San Francisco, the gay homosexuals like yourself are doing sadomasochism.
Sadomasochism.
Yes, sadomasochism. And it's become such a serious problem out there that the police have decided that they have to start giving a course on how to do sadomasochism safely so they don't kill each other. I said, Mom, that must be a popular course. She said, Abe, get serious. I want you to be frank with me. Do you do sadomasochism? Now, I was 17 years old, right? So I could say in all honesty that I'd done very little sadomasochism. So I said, no, Mom, I don't do sadomasochism. She said, thank God. Abe, I want you to promise me one thing. Promise me, Abe, if you ever do try sadomasochism, please promise me you'll take the course. When I was just a little boy, I asked my mommy, what will I be? Will I be beaten up? Will I be fat bashed? Will I get HIV? Gay, Sarah, whatever will be. The future's not ours to see. Sarah. I grew up and fell in love. I asked my sweetheart, what lies ahead? Will it be rainbows, sweetness and light, or suffering until we're dead? Que sera, sera, whatever will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. Song is based on another one of those infamous true life experiences. Back when I was 19, actually that's when I wrote the song, and I wrote it about my experiences with being a peeping Tom, and it's called Breathe Deep. Shoddy, I know that it is all because of his ectomorphic body. Every time I pass that window, I try to look straight forward. Every time I pass that window, I try to breathe deep. Every time I pass that window, maybe he sleeps without his clothes on. Maybe he's sitting there naked as can be. He's rubbing every inch of skin. Oh my God, he's looking at me. Oh my God.
Girlfriend.
Forward. Every time I pass that window, I try to breathe deep. For those of you, Craig Hickman, folks. For those of you who came for songs about Central America or something, interpret it however you'd like. After 3 of my closest friends died of AIDS, and one housemate had died, I got a new housemate, and he got sick. My lover of 3 years, Greg, tested positive. And I thought, Abe, now's the time to start thinking about getting tested yourself. So I went to my healthcare plan and I told them I wanted to get tested, and they recommended that first I get some counseling, that I go to the health plan psychiatrist. A psychiatrist, I thought? How campy. I'll do it. So I did go to the psychiatrist at my health plan over at MIT. I sat down and I told him about my friends who had died, my friends who were sick. And he said, "It seems you have surrounded yourself with death." I should explain, he really did have a Viennese accent, which I am making the artistically, piercingly perceptive choice to represent as kind of Danish, kind of Illinois, kind of Hebraic, whatever you want to call it. But he really did say, "It seems you have surrounded yourself with death." I said, well, you know, some of these people aren't dead. I don't think that's a really fair thing to say, and I certainly haven't surrounded myself with it on purpose. I mean, we're talking about my friends. What do you want me to do, abandon them? And he said, "You are talking about people who have a disease which is 100% fatal." He said, "Abe, try some education. It's a bad habit." I decided, okay, I'll explain things to him. I said, well, you know, I think these people are really living with AIDS for the moment, and I just read the other day that over 50% of the people who test positive for the HIV virus live for at least 5 years after their test. That is, if they're not in prison and they're white and they're male. But anyway, I didn't give him the details. But his reaction to that was to say, "You are terribly deluded. All of your friends will die." And I said, "Look, I've had enough of this. I just came here for some supportive counseling. My lover just tested positive, so I'm considering getting tested myself." And he said, "Your lover tested positive? Couldn't you find anyone out there healthy?" I risky. It's a risk to ring the bell and box. You gotta get your kicks from when you take your knocks. You take your licks from hunky, sweaty jocks. If you survive, then you're the tops. It's risky. It's a risk to fall in love. It's dangerous. But taking the chances, the thing that entrances without it, romance is off. It's risky. Yes, it is risky. So many things in life. Oh, I'll take this risk. It's risky. It's a risk to fall in love. It's dangerous. But taking the chances of the little chances without a romance, it's risky.
Love is risk, measured on pleasure and raw desire. Sex is risk. If we are queer, sex isn't suicide, it's not murder. What it is risk.
It's a risk to fall in love. It's dangerous. But taking the chances, the thing that entrances without it, romance is tough. It's risky. Is it ever? Okay, another adventure in miking here. We're gonna find out. Is this one working? Yes.
Take it off, please.
This is quite enough for now. I
Is
didn't
it
know
still
you were
working?
enough. Oh, you want that too? Too bad.
The following, what was that? You miss so much when you can hear if you don't learn sign language. But we'll just plow on anyway. The following song had its world premiere last summer at Queer Nation's Queer Wedding.
Not another dick song.
No. And we thought that by now, some 6 or 7 or 8 months later, it would be time for a massive queer divorce. So we wrote this little song. I see my parents in their marriage. It is so confining. Dad checks mom into the loony bin like clockwork each July. Although I am queer, I like that idea of my perfect lover signing in writing a covenant with the government to love me until he dies. So I wanna get married, then I'll be happy. I wanna find Mr. Right is right. My world will be perfect every way. I'll be missing somebody on my wedding day. Although I know you love me so, commitment must be measured. To wish our wish we need permission from society. Those wedding bells, that's what we want to hear. It's not just a gesture to justify our love and mask our insecurities. I want to get married, then I'll be happy. I want to find Mr. Right. His shorts will be really short, like yours. My world will be perfect every way. I'll be missing somebody on my wedding day.
You know, I really hope you'll come. You know, it's not going to be like your sister Amy's wedding was.
Oh, and you know how radical we are. We're gonna have a carrot cake.
Whoa! And no sexist stuff either at my wedding. Like, for instance, instead of a stag party, the night before, all the guys are gonna get together, canoe out to an island in the middle of a lake, build a sweat lodge, and we're gonna do drumming.
He's such a feminist. And you know, the bridesmaids' outfits, they're going to be really, really practical. And we have a black woman minister. And
Where did they find her?
I'll let you know. I taught the band to play some Holly Near songs.
Oh, you know, I have a couple of friends you're really going to like. They're gay. And, you know, well, like, I'll seat you at their table because they're making the vegetarian hors d'oeuvres.
Some of the gifts have been so lavish. Of course, that's not what we expect from you. No. All we really want is for you to be there at the ceremony.
Right. And of course, I'm keeping my last name.
Whoa.
Well, my father's last name.
I want to get married, then I'll be happy. I want to find Mr. Right. His income will be really big. My world will be perfect every way. I'll be missing somebody on my wedding day. My man was in a love. I tried my husband pleasing stuff. I brought his cup of coffee and his pipe. He took a puff, but then I screwed it up. I spilled his coffee on his stuff. Well, a man can only take so much. You broke my hand and my cheekbone, and it proves how much you love me. Not how much you hate yourself and take it out on me. And I don't need to stop the bleeding. I don't need a band-aid. Just a wedding band upon my hand, and no one will ever see. So I gotta get married, then I'll be happy. I gotta find Mr. Is anyone good at telling which is the front of the hat? And this one I can always tell because it's the side with the makeup all over it. Okay. Now, here's Felice Shays again.
I have a question for you. Show of hands, shouting, whatever you need to do. How many of you out there have ex-lovers? Now, come on now. One, maybe several. 1,000. How many of you out there have ex-lovers that you would really like to send a box of dog shit to in the mail? I don't.
Over here.
This is a hypothesis. The next song is called I Love You.
She's stroking your body, you feeling me come. I used to eat your pussy like some kind of wild animal. No, I wouldn't go near it, even if I were a cannibal. You fuck everything that moves. For me, that's not where it's at. I knew from the start you were just a twat, so play it out, use piece of it. And here's your dip. Eat your nipple. Well, I got news for you, girl. I'm bored with your shit. Your hair is outdated. No one wears amulets. I don't sleep alone. I've been a published number. Don't bother to phone. I used to eat your pussy like some kind of wild animal. No, I wouldn't go near it, even if I were a cannibal. I faked it all.
That was great. I don't see as how it's going to get you a date tonight. But, maybe, huh, girls? I'd like to, introduce the members of the band real quickly for you. First, we got Robert Lee signing. Molly Ruggles on keyboards. Danny Schultz on violin and accordion. Tibbs Lynn Brown on horns. Nancy Ash on the drums. Dana Moser on bass, one of the founders of the band. We are adult children of heterosexuals, and I want to introduce the dancers, Craig Hickman and Susan Jarvis. Support GCN. And stick around for Magnetic Field. My ears are open. Anything else want to whisper into it? Thank you and good night.
One quick announcement. Because of some kind of technical errors and stuff, we were not able to get a sign language interpreter for the next band. So just to let you know, feel free to stay. Of course, they're going to be great.
You just tuned to the Gay Community News Benefit. Our features were 3 films by Dana Moser, performance artist Christina Favaretta, and ensemble adult children of heterosexuals. You are tuned to Cafe Cabaret.